such incredible DMs, and I'm just gonna sit back here like, okay, okay.
I'm gonna burn down my apartment now.
I'm gonna go bring
This is what I'm bringing.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening, whatever time it is of the day for you. I'm super excited about this next interview. I have been waiting for it, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for being here, Dawn.
Hello, Natalie. Oh, I'm excited to be here too. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Okay, so first questions first. How long have you been playing and or DMing?
Oh my gosh, how long have I been playing? I started playing when I was 7 years old. I'm 45 now, and that's math and life is hard. I could actually roll up FACO and come up with those numbers, but why I can't minus 45 from 7 right now is challenging. So 38 years. My brother, who is 6 years older than I am, started playing, like he actually got like the first basic box sets, and he had no friends. And so he had to play with his little sister. I can't imagine like how much that sucked for him. So yep. And I remember I remember this like hardcore. I made 3 characters. I made a fighter named Ganzel, and I had a female character named Gazelle. I can't remember what she was. And then I had a little thief guy, and I can't remember what his name is now. But like, so those are my first 3 characters I ever made, and we played a basic box set that ridiculously my family played once on Christmas Eve, like my entire family. Maybe this is like 10 years ago, something like that. No, 24 years ago, because it was before my niece was born. And my brother was GMing it, and it was the exact same box set. And I remember like sitting there like going like, oh wait, if we get on this bed, we're all gonna go to sleep. We can't go on this bed. We can't go. And I was like trying not to like affect everyone else's gameplay, but it's like, I remember this from when I was 7. So yeah, that's when I started playing.
That's amazing.
It really was.
So my son is 6, and he just played his first one-shot last week.
Oh, cute.
It was adorable. I made like this super simple, it was just me, him, and my fiance, and I did like this old Western abandoned town, and he really likes Minecraft, so they had to rescue a princess from a bunch of Endermen. And
oh, cute.
It was so cute because so most kids, like in his little kindergarten graduation, all the other kids were like, I want to be a teacher, I want to be an astronaut. And then there's my kid, he wants to be a voice actor when he grows up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, I want to be a voice actor. I was like, all right, buddy, sure. So he does this super cute, like posh voice for his character. And he kept going, he sounds a little bit French. And it was adorable.
That is so sweet.
My art. He has an obsession with Spider-Man. So his character's name was Parker the Bloody Hunter. And I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Okay, that is to the point. You know what's going to happen with that character.
Yeah, well, he put in part of his greatsword, there was, because I just made him like a super basic fighter character, something easy, and he asked for in his sword to be a secret compartment where he could hide candy.
Oh my God, that is actually intelligent. That is so cute. I played with a group of noobs, and wow, we started back in 2008. The campaign is still going, which is a lot of fun. But it was interesting to play, like the GM was very, very, very experienced. And so I was really one of the only other experienced players. And then to have 4 other people who've never played before, and just the way they treated their characters. I mean, they were taking these massive risks at first and second level where I'm like, this is nuts and your people are gonna die and don't you care? And it's because like, they didn't yet. And now like a few of the characters have turned over in their own ways, and people are very sad about missing their old characters.
A 12-year-long campaign.
Yep, it's a 12-year-long campaign. It is so much fun. It's so much fun.
And it's like the same story.
Same story. I think we're all like 12th level now, give or take. I'm not GMing that one. It's run by one of the best GMs I've ever met in my life. Obviously, that this campaign's been running this long and we're actually this far. It's been really enjoyable. to play it and play it with this group of people. Just based on experience points. So you got to earn enough, and that's a hybrid of Pathfinder 5th edition that he's kind of cobbled together. So once you get enough XP, yay, you level up. Really fun, really entertaining.
I am yet to experience the sadness of when a campaign does not complete. I've still played the first campaigns that I've started, so I'm currently running Curse of Strahd.
I've heard that's super, super fun. I've got another group of friends who are playing it, and they love it. So I think that's great.
I do. I love Curse of Strahd so much. I have learned that I like homebrew more.
Curse
of Strahd was like my first, and what I should have done is like, hey, let's do a super simple level 1 through 3. Only 2 of the people had ever played D&D before, and brand new DM. I was like, everybody wants to play D&D. Sure, we'll do everybody. Person campaign.
I'm sorry, how many people are in the campaign? I'm sorry? 8?
Having never played D&D before. And instead of picking a super simple module, I picked one that goes all the way through level 13. I hate myself.
That's cool though. I mean, and that kind of gets into like DMing styles, because like modules are really nice to have. Like it's great, especially if you're starting as a brand new GM, to have that module, or even just to have it and just be like, well, I like these parts, so I'm going to pull these parts out and I'm going to add them to other parts, and then I'm going to add my own things in. And I mean, that's how I like to GM, is it's like, I'll take some inspiration from this, but this part's stupid and it's going to be boring, so let's put in this instead, and make it more fun.
I completely agree. I'm learning more and more as I go. That's really the reason I'm doing all of these interviews, is so that the rest of the internet can just kind of go away. But this is really just for me to learn years of D&D experience in a very short amount of time.
Very effective.
I like that. Do you feel like you like to do more homebrew or module?
I do like combo platters. The module is nice because then I can focus more then on how do I make it unique to the players. I should say my ultimate goal as a GM is the entertainment value, however you define entertainment, to the players. Because if your players aren't engaged, you don't have anything. And it's trying to make it as tailored to them, to that specific group. Like, do you have people who just want to get together and eat snacks and just, talk, and then maybe throw some dice every now and then? Or do you have people that need to kill things in order to feel good about themselves? And then trying to find that balance within the group and in the party so that it feels like, everyone's D&D cups are happy.
Do you feel like you're able to satisfy that for each person? So say you have one player at the table who likes combat and another player who likes the storyline. Are you able to find like a happy medium for both?
I try. I do my best, but I don't know if it's always successful. I mean, I think my Achilles heel is I'm a little bit more of a sillier GM, and it's hard to find a group that'd be like, cool, this is what we're doing today, as opposed to, and then still try to get that bloodbath in there and that storyline. And, people just, so I'm a little bit sillier, and I try to make it more funny or entertaining or just weirder or quirkier, and then see what happens. I like to see what people do with things.
Yeah. Oh man, and they can really throw you for a loop. Really throw you for a loop.
Absolutely. I did a campaign once. Now this is a group of guys I've been gaming with now for over 20 years. It's the same group, but it's not the same campaign. And they always like to start something brand new, and then we play once and then we make new characters next time. I find it terribly annoying, but that to me, like, that's what makes them happy. Great. Then I'm going to eat the snacks and just talk to everybody. So then I'm happy. But we always had this trope in our games, like whenever you picked up a magical item, the way we would describe it before you could identify it or anything like that is like, it feels a little lighter than it should. Like, you get the sword, it feels a little lighter. And then that would all of us going, it's a magical item, it's a magical item, quick, identify. So one time I brought them to a bar where they like get their beer and it's like, and they pick up their beer. I'm like, it feels a little lighter than it should. And none of them got it. None of them got that they were drinking ale +1. And I was so upset. And they're like, after they were like drinking like one ale, I'm like, great, roll your con. And you have to see if they're getting tanked. They're like, I only had one. Like, none of you are, I'm so upset right now.
You always miss like the biggest things. And like in one of my campaigns, I was like, okay, here's this guy. Okay, well, first of all, they were like, we want to go buy some horses. So I was like, okay. So I made like a place for them to buy horses, and I titled it Ford's Mustangs.
Oh God.
Because sometimes
See,
that's
like,
cliche.
that's right up my alley.
Like the owner was like, okay, like, I've got some stories to tell you. And they were like, no, we have to go on. We've got places to be. And I was like, nobody ever wants to hear my story, but like tried to guilt them. They're like, look, man, we will come back to hear your story. We've got things to do. And I'm like, if they would have listened to the dang story, it had some of the biggest information for them to have. And I was like, I gave them like 3 chances, and they're like, no. And I was like, all right, okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Go enjoy your death.
Yeah.
You could have avoided.
Do you feel like because you're a voice actress, your NPCs I feel like your NPCs would just have a different level?
Oh, that's very kind. I don't try to like get out all the voicey crazy stuff when
Really?
I don't when I game, or I mean, sometimes if it makes it easier to understand which character is talking, but otherwise, no, I don't. Maybe it's because it feels like it's work then to develop that. But when it comes to actually developing the characters themselves, I mean, I like to hope that they're really, really well fleshed out, that they, it's not just barmaid number 2 or something like that, that there's something a little bit more solid about them, just in case the the PCs want to jump in and do something more interesting with their NPCs.
Andres, our resident voice actor for on Clash of Quests, his voices blow my mind. They crack
I dig it
every time. His voices are so good that like one of my characters he made this improv goblin that was obviously chaotic evil, but that's kind of like
well, and it's improv, so of course it's chaotic evil. Yeah. Just kidding.
But my weakness as a player is those super, super ugly, unwantable characters.
Yeah.
I love them, and I want to adopt them and just make them like all of my little ugly, unwanted children. But his voices are so good. They just bring they make them so real.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like, and in comes this goblin. Here he is. It gives them his whole. But he'll take like a shirt and like wrap it around his head and make a crazy expression on his face. He's ridiculous.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Yes, that's entertaining as a GM. Just to create, whatever, or to bring in the really weird prop that the people, then the players can then like hand around and look at and feel or read it for themselves, and I feel like that creates that beautiful additional bonus level of, isn't this cool and neat? And then if someone finds the thing, on the thing that I handed out, that makes them just go like, wait, what's this? And then
yes, I'm such a big fan of making props.
Oh, cool. Examples. Oh, you have Hero Forge stuff. That stuff is great. I really like that.
Have little vials you can see.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and
that's brilliant.
I fill them with Gatorade and edible glitter, and they healing potions. And so that way, like, they can actually drink them.
Oh, cute.
They love it so much. And I learned calligraphy for D&D so that I could like make my spell scrolls, because as I've said 100 times, I hate myself. Soul crushing, like when they use their spell scroll and they're like, okay, it's done, and then they rip it up and I'm like, sorry.
It still is parchment. You never know when you might need parchment. I mean, you might be out in the woods for a really long time and you might need some parchment.
Like, okay, well, in the story, like, I think we said, like, once they use it, it, like, ignites in flames. So then they're
Okay.
like, it's all gone. I'm like, it's fine. I only spent 3 hours making it. It's not a big deal.
Oh no. See, like I've always imagined, and I know that everyone imagines everything differently, that like once you do the cast the spell from the scroll, that the writing ignites into flames and you still have the parchment afterwards. So
Ooh.
like, see, that's, I don't know. I mean, and right or wrong or whatever, it's when I'm DMing, it's my world, so suck it up and this is what happens. And so it's like you can reuse that. Just recycle it. Just recycle it.
Just cycle it. It's fine. It's fine. It'll
It's
work.
fine.
Yeah,
It's
when
fine.
I make them, I would like hold like a lighter underneath the paper so it would make it look like old and crinkly and stuff.
Oh, dang.
The trick with that is, though, if you hold that there for a millisecond too long, the
Uh-huh.
whole page ignites in your flames, and the amount of
Yeah.
time that I've nearly burned my apartment down. Yeah, my fiance, he works shift work, so when he's on nights, I have to, like, I make sure to do my crafts when he's not here to stop me. And so he'll be like sleeping and he'll come out and he'll be like, stop catching paper on fire in the apartment.
Yeah, I think those are good rules to live by in
Yeah,
general.
I'm an adult. I should not be playing with fire in my apartment. But I'm over here like, it's gonna look so cool though. Like a nerd.
I saw some ad somewhere. I don't know what the brand is, but there's supposedly a type of ink that you can burn away. And yeah, and it looks really cool. And now that I've said that, hopefully people who listen to this podcast can Google it and see it, because I think you would enjoy setting your apartment on fire with this product.
I would. I'm just gonna dump it all over the furniture and just like see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the video looked neat. Like it just like burns away and you could see whatever ink was left over. So it's like you do secret messages. And
That's so cool. I get so into the D&D props, and
Mhm.
I like to bring like that real feeling to the games.
Yeah, the tactile.
Yeah,
Something to touch, something to smell.
yeah. So how do you help players who struggle with the RP?
You know, I just allow people to go at their own, what their own comfort level is. Like I do have players that love to do the voices and love to like change their body language, and I have other players that don't, and that's cool. You know, it's all about having a good time together with people, and if it makes someone comfortable, great. If they want to go seduce the orc, great. Yeah, that's fine. You
Oh,
know, it's all good. It's all good.
I think especially since you said you have like much more sillier games and it doesn't have that so much of that heavy factor.
Yeah, yeah. Again, trying to like keep that balance, but yeah, my games are a little bit more silly.
Also, it's a game, so if they're not comfortable with it, you should just be having fun anyways.
Right, and yeah, and not every DM is everyone's cup of tea, and that is a thing.
Yeah,
And you got to find the right group, and you got to find the right people to play with, and that's what it's all about.
absolutely. I completely agree. What is your favorite villain that you've ever gotten to play?
Oh my god! Oh, ah, ah! It was a again. Everything I do is so ridiculous. I think my favorite, and I'm not even saying like villain, it was just a monster, but it was a calzone golem.
Also,
Well, it was my PCs went to this like restaurant, you know, like they were like doing like the whole like, hey, we're in town, we're gonna eat something, and the chef was trying to create something new, and instead like created this big calzone golem that they had to fight. And whenever it, like they would attack it, it had a, this isn't the right word because boy, this was a while ago. Whenever you would either pierce it or slash it, like steam would come out, and you had to like you had to be careful of the steam. And then that was really enjoyable. I did make a shit demon once out of an outhouse. Like again, yeah, it wasn't like this big like long-term nasty thing, but the shit demon was hilarious. And to me, because of course one of my players was in the outhouse at the time. And then, yeah, so that was great.
That's one that I would fight. I think I would just, that'd be a big old nope for me, and I'd just run. That's no.
Well, it did break out of the outhouse, of course, and because it was using it to lure people in. And so then, yeah, the whole campaign, the party had to fight it, and it was disgusting. Because again, it just had, I mean, it smelled awful, and it would get poop on you, and it was just like, it was so gross.
Like, I'm a mom. I am experienced in
Oh,
poop.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I'd be like, look, guys, the next adventuring party over can take care of that. Somebody else's problem.
Yep. Yeah. I had developed a wizard, of course, that the people never actually met. Of course, naturally. Yeah, he was a big, bad, nasty guy that they were supposed to meet. In one of my campaigns, and again, this is the group of friends I've played with for over 20 years, so we had developed, like when 3rd edition first came out, and we all made like our big groups of starting off that campaign. I was playing a sorceress, yay, because that was so much fun. And she had a familiar that was a ferret. And because at the time I had a ferret, so it was cute. And anyways, they were supposed to, in my campaign, they were supposed to meet this guy who had a ferret familiar who met another ferret familiar, and they had babies. And so these were like strange, like, what new magical creature is this? Because we've never had familiars who've had babies together, and so no one could really like figure them out. So they were supposed to transport this like big basket of ferret familiars to this wizard, and then they never met the wizard. Damn it! And I was so pissed off because that campaign was set up so that all the players would get their own familiar regardless of class. Because like they were going to get these babies, and you're like, oh, and these babies were just going to bond to them, because that was part of their magical ability, was that they could bond to anyone regardless of class.
So adorable.
It really was.
Little baby.
I know, like baby familiars. Like, how powerful could that be? I mean, what an interesting concept.
And now we'll never know.
Yeah, someone else who's listening to this, please adopt it into one of your campaigns and let me know how it goes.
Do it, internet.
Yeah, I like the idea of baby familiars.
Since you play less, you know, like as you said, like more like sillier-esque kind of games, do you still have like big like no-nos from your players, like phones on the table, or?
Not really. I mean, because, I mean, how many of us are working adults, and like I'm on call a lot, and you know, I have to be like watching my phone in case a job comes through. So I mean, that's fine. It's, you know, my big like pet peeve is, okay, we are in battle right now, and you've had 7 or like minutes or like to figure out what you were going to do on your turn. Like, you knew when you were coming up in initiative, and then you sit there and you're like, oh, what am I gonna do? And then go through your spell books. It's like, no, make up your mind.
Yeah, that is also a kind of a pet peeve of mine. I've given my players like plenty of time, because in the beginning they were all learning how to play D&D, so I was like, okay, I'm here. But like we're actually starting at our next session. You get 1 minute, and I have like a timer. You get 1 minute at the beginning round of the combat, at the top of each round, to discuss with people what you're gonna do, and then other than that, like you have all that time before your turn. Decide what you're gonna do. Don't decide on your turn. Like,
yeah,
get 6 people in this campaign. I don't want to spend 2 hours on combat. Like,
thank you.
Let it go.
Thank you.
Let it go.
Yes. Oh, that drives me mad. Yeah, like I was in a larger group just as a player, and it would like take 45 minutes per combat. And I'm like, that's when the phone stays on the table, because I am bored.
Yes. I struggle. Like, I personally struggle with combat the most. I tend to get bored during combat, period. As a DM, I feel like it's kind of different.
Oh, totally different.
You've got so much going on at that point. Like, you can't sit still. But as a player, I do find myself getting bored during combat. But I'm just more of an RP player. I like the RP. I like the storyline. Combat is the very bottom of my list. even
Mm.
though I play a barbarian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a little contrary, but no, that's cool. No judgment. That's
Yeah,
good.
again, it was also my first character, so I wanted something easier
Smart.
that I didn't have to like think about. And now I also play a druid, and I'm like, all the things to think
Oh,
about.
that's once you start getting all those wild shapes in, yeah, that's insane.
It's fun. I really like it.
Right.
I didn't for the first few sessions. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? But
Yeah.
now I've learned some apps and flowing with it now.
Good for you. That's probably, I think that's one of the most difficult characters to start with, would be a druid. But yeah, that's awesome. I love that you're playing it.
She's a multi-class with druid
Oh,
and
make it easier then.
an
Yeah.
artificer. So
Oh, yeah.
just because she's a super mega like pacifist hippie, and so I did artificer so that she could make kombucha. That's it. It's the whole
You know, I feel like you and I would game really well together.
so too.
Yeah, yeah, because I would completely respect that as a GM. Just be like, great, let's make an entire like campaign session about finding the right ingredients.
It's all I wanted is to make kombucha. That's it.
That's great. I love that.
In real life, I really like it. So I
That's
always
awesome.
like it during my sessions, and so that I'm like, it's kind of
I'm
perfect.
LARPing. I'm LARPing.
I have not done LARPing yet.
Oh,
I don't know if I will. I don't know if that's a thing around here.
I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
I'm
I
sure.
mean,
I live in like one of the major cities. I live in Houston, so.
yeah. Oh, someone's got a LARP out there. You know someone's LARPing.
But also, like, it's Texas, so
Yeah.
we just care about football kind of thing. So, but maybe it's somewhere. I
Oh,
would just be too nervous at this point, but eventually it's there. I'm gonna do it eventually.
that's awesome.
When I go to Europe, I'll just go find my new drag queen friends and be like, let's do it.
Oh my gosh. I'm coming too, just so you know. Just so you know. This is the other thing I love about gaming like this, like D&D and what have you, is that like I look at my gaming groups and like we would never hang out like for a day-to-day basis. We just because we're all so different, and then we can have this thing to gather around a table on and cook for each other and hang out and talk, and then it's 20 years later and we're all the dearest friends that we have, and we're standing up for each other at weddings, and it's like, and it's all D&D that brought us together.
Yes, it's so funny because I've only ever met like only two of us from Clash of Quests have ever met, and that's me and Andres. Everybody else is complete and total strangers on the internet. We've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
However, next year we're all getting together to go to Europe because I'm eloping. And so, like, these are total rando strangers that I'm like,
yep.
Yeah, elope where you live.
Yep. And that's like part of the magic of it to me.
Agreed.
And it's just I just like that stuff. It makes me happy.
It's to go from, nah, I don't think so, guys. I think I'm gonna sit this one out. It seems kind of nerdy to it's my entire life now, and I'm eloping. I'm gonna run across the internet to go meet these people.
All right, now here's the real question though, because you've only been playing for 6 months, right?
Uh-huh.
The real question, Natalie, how many dice do you own?
I have 8 sets of dice.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Good job.
To be fair, I do have to share that with my fiance in our game, but I'm like,
no, you don't. You don't. You're not married yet. You don't have to share anything.
He's like, babe, we don't really need more. And I'm like, I'm the DM. Oh. I need all the dice. I was like, you didn't know how powerful these spells can get. I need all the dice.
You do. And eventually your 20s, I feel like, at least my D20s, they run out after a while. And it's time to get new ones because
your luck runs out.
Yeah, they do. They just run out. That's the way it is.
We have a turtle, which is played by Andres, the voice actor, with all the weird faces. And even he looks derpy like Andres does, and it's fantastic.
That is so cute. I love that.
Yes, the turtles have a life expectancy of 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
Our turtle is 86.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Andres
Mm-hmm.
puts this little old man face and he makes this old voice and it's so freaking cute. And I'm gonna be so heartbroken when Kuda dies because, you know,
Yep.
it's gonna happen eventually. He's so old.
Yep.
He gets hit with a ghost because it does that thing.
Oh.
And it's not like we can use Revivify because he would die of natural causes. It would be old, just old. Yeah,
It's so sad.
it's such a great character, but it's setting us all up for emotional heartbreak.
Well, so now that keeps you invested in the character then. And that's important. That brings up a good point though, of like how to get characters to be invested in one another in your party. And I sometimes think that's really hard to do as a GM. Depending on who you're playing with, it's like some people just don't want to play nice with each other. And sometimes I'm just like, why? You know, so in one campaign, I required everybody to take at least, and this is, gosh, I think this was a 3.5, so this was a while ago. I required everyone to take 4 ranks and perform, and they were a boy band. And they were traveling around doing performances together. So it's like I was forcing this group that was notorious for not always playing nice with each other. I mean, everyone's friends, but their characters wouldn't always play nice. It's like, no, I'm going to force you to play nice because you have to work together on a daily basis, which felt dumb, but it also was a great reason for them to go travel around to all these places. And then they'd have to do performances, and then other things would come up where they'd have to figure out, like, not like Scooby-Doo mysteries, not that silly, believe it or not that silly, but like they would have to go solve other problems and take care of the town. And it was, I thought that was really enjoyable. And they made money. I mean, it's one of the ways that they got their party funds up.
I'm learning so much from these phenomenal DMs. Each one has like their own little thing that they're just so, like Pip is amazing with words and just that picture. Addie is so good at suspense. So like, okay, I rolled this, and she just kind of pauses, and she'll pause. You don't seem to notice anything. I'm like, I hate your word choices. It's amazing. And Luke is so good with like the computer and his storylines. Luke has made me like, I'm not a crier. It takes a whole lot to make me cry, and Luke has made me cry in 3 games.
Wow.
One of which I had to like go sit in a corner for like 2 hours and ponder my existence.
Holy cow.
He's so good at, and he's only been DMing for a year.
Yeah.
They're all so incredible. And Andres with all of his voices, and they're such incredible DMs. And I'm just gonna sit back here like, okay.
I'm gonna burn down my apartment now.
I'm gonna go bring
this is what I'm bringing. I'm still
in that newbie imitation phase where I'm just kind of like copying to try and find my own thing.
Sure.
So far, I'm not good at the suspense part. I tried Addie's suspense, and they were like, are you good, Natalie? We asked you a question.
You will never be them.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's finding what makes you unique and what makes you powerful as a storyteller and as a GM. And that is, yeah.
Agreed. So far, I think my thing is going to be emotional shitting. I'm really good at like getting in there and just ripping them apart emotionally.
Lovely. That's lovely.
And I'm always so like giggly and like happy, bubbly, and then to go to, okay, here we go, moral conundrum where you cannot make a good, like, no decision is the right decision. Surprise, here you go.
Oh, that sounds like fun though.
I love it.
That sounds like a great angle.
I love it. I love doing that to my players. Like, sure, you can fix this problem, but are you willing to pay the price to do it? What do you feel like your like? What is your favorite part that you feel like you just really excel at?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about the being silly. I feel like that's the best thing. How do I say this? I feel like I don't ever want to like hand a win to my players. That's not the point. It's never about handing a win over, just like, oh, look, you did it. Yay, you get all the magical items. You know, but I feel like there is a really powerful moment in fudging your numbers. I'm saying it. I am. I'm saying it as a GM. That, you know, like, oh, this battle's turning out to be way too easy. Well, let's put 5 more guys in. Okay. or sometimes it's okay to have that super easy win and then, you know, find out something later. Or if my players are just rolling horribly, you know, and it's like, okay, we've already got 3 people down and I am going to take out the entire party. Is that what the goal was right now? Do I want to kill everyone? No, I don't. So I feel like I'm good at kind of pushing that envelope barrier that everyone's feeling hopeless. Oh, look, you actually did hit the guy. You know, not like I'm changing their roles, but like giving something, you know, that they can also be like, oh, here's that spark of hope. Is like, oh, we might have a chance, you know, even whether if they make it or not, it's giving them that little spark of hope to go, we're not going to die. And trying to find out how to make that work, whether that's the bad guys run away or something else happens or something. But never fudging their numbers, but I'll fudge my numbers.
Yeah, I'm an advocate, except for I don't fudge a nat 20.
No, never. No.
Now,
No.
whether I ever actually get a nat 20 is a totally different story. Totally different story. But so if you could go back to when Dawn was a little bitty baby DM, what advice would you give her?
What a great question. I think I would remind myself or tell myself that it's not about me as the GM. I mean, yeah, I'm the one the story revolves around. But it's not about me. It's about my players. If my players aren't having fun, no one's going to have fun. I mean, no matter how beautifully crafted I might have done a world and an incredible moment that no one else appreciated, because to them it was just like, and to me, I'm like, I'm the best GM ever. And you know, and it's like, and it doesn't matter because it's about your players. And at least for me, it's about like, focus on them, focus on what they need, focus on what not necessarily is going to make them happy, but is going to keep them engaged, entertained, and like wanting to come back for that next session.
Okay, so last few questions are less about Dawn the DM and more about Dawn the person.
Oh gosh, okay.
Together, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm blood type B positive.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, good to know.
If you could recommend a book, a movie, and a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say at the beginning. I like to see that panic in your eyes.
Yeah, no, that's panic in my eyes. A book. I read, because I read a lot and I don't often reread books. It's called, I think the series is called The Deed of Pixenarium. And I strongly recommend that. It's a fantasy novel. It's a female main character. Yay, I'm already down. Yes. And I don't want to give too much of it away in case someone reads it, but it's really powerful in her journey, her sacrifice, and what she eventually becomes and how she helps people. So yeah, I stumbled upon it when I was in like a Barnes and Noble or something, and I was like, I wish someone would just walk up and tell me what book to read. And this man shows up out of nowhere and he's like, read this book. And it was The Deed of Pixenarium. So I was like, great. So okay, so let's see here. The movie, oh, I love like Coraline.
Ooh.
And like Mirror Mask and like all that stuff. I love that stuff. That makes me really happy. Oh no, okay, here it is. I've got it now. Okay, the movie I'm going to recommend is The Fall. And it was like one of those movies that was shot in like 20 countries. And it took them like, I think like 6 or 8 years to shoot it because they kept running out of money. But it's beautiful. It's called The Fall. It's gorgeous. There are parts that made me cry. And then there's like these other absolutely stunning moments in it. So The Fall is great. Okay. And then the TV show. I just started my pandemic addiction, which is why I don't watch anything else, is I'm watching Chinese soap operas. And I love them a lot. Because they're so not anything pandemic world related right now, and they're like these really. And I'm not a love story corny girl, but I just finished the series Ashes of Love, and there were parts in there that I was actually crying in because I'm like, this is the most beautifully tragic love story ever, and these people like are gods, so they're gorgeous, like they're ridiculously beautiful.
Yeah.
So it really hits everything. So Ashes of Love, I guess, is my TV series. You can watch on Netflix. Okay.
On Netflix. Even better that it's on Netflix.
Yep.
It's so great.
Oh
Last
God.
question with the most judgment.
Oh shoot.
Dirty Dancing or Footloose?
I'm gonna have to say Footloose because I did a fringe show called that was based on Footloose, and it took The Sound of Music and Footloose and combined it. And so it's called The Sound of Footloose, where I was playing the Mother Superior, and the son, my character's son, was the Footloose character. And then it was like all about how no one was allowed to dance, but it was all like, it was a massive dance production, and like it was great.
Sound of
It was,
Music, Footloose. That is.
yep, especially the goat dance, the goat herd dance when everyone's dressed up like goats and everyone's like dancing across the stage as goats. Yeah, it was positively ridiculous. So
you're also the second person to recommend Footloose because of a parody of Footloose.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun.
Oh, thank you so much too, Natalie. I really appreciated the invitation.
I was so looking forward to this. I'm so glad we got to do it. I'm glad that I got to steal the interview and Pip didn't get to do it. So
well, Pip, you and I can still talk sometime too. No problems.
I made sure not to be like, hey, the interview with Dawn is today. I was just like, I'm doing it. I'm not even gonna tell him, because then he can't say that he wants it.
No, Pip and I, we can still have convos. We're good. We can talk about other things. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to, I know that I've been getting soft invitations to join on one shots, and I can't wait for that schedule to actually work out. So.
Yes, we are for sure. All of them. D&D, Call of Cthulhu. We're gonna get you on as many one shots as we can have you for, because that's gonna be so great.
I have nothing else to do.
It's a pandemic.
All my shows canceled this year, so yay.
Oh, no.
Get me to do something.
And don't forget, you can watch Clash of Quests every Saturday live on twitch.tv/clashofquests. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Goodbye. May your 20s be natural.
And don't forget, Nat 1s are just as fun as Nat 20s.